Welcome back to Celtics Roundtable Podcast, part of the CLNS newsfeed. CLNS is the leading online provider of both audio and video coverage of your favorite Boston sports teams. We're recording this the day after the Boston Celtics got clobbered by the Atlanta Hawks by a score of 114-98 on Monday night. A forgettable game where seemingly nothing went right for the whole team, including Isaiah Thomas, who had his streak of 43 straight games with 20-plus points end. With me to pay respects to Isaiah's amazing streak and discuss what has gone wrong with the Celtics since the All-Star break, we have Evan Valenti, Zaire, and my brother Matt. Evan, let's start with you. Any special parting words for the little man's historic streak?
Well, it was the best in Celtics history, and it was a spectacular run for Isaiah. But, eventually somebody's going to have a bad shooting game. This happened to Isaiah on a night where they really could have used a couple of buckets from him and a little bit of a spark. Celtics, since the break, have had three really tough games. The one against Detroit in Detroit they pulled out, but the first three after the break have not been encouraging. And while you watch them, the offense hasn't been spectacular, the defense has had its moments, and you've had guys step up in big ways in certain games. But, the collective team effort that we saw heading into the break where they were red hot, they were They won 8 of the last 10 games heading into the All-Star break. They were spectacular. Now they're struggling. And it's as a team, certain guys have played really well, like Marcus Smart's played really well. Jaylen Brown has been unbelievable. But the mainstays, the Isaiah Thomases, the Al Horfords, the Jay Crowders, it's been inconsistent and it's been rough to watch. And as the Celtics go forward and they watch some of the teams around them get better, like with Washington grabbing Bogdanovich, with Toronto getting PJ Tucker and with Serge Ibaka, it's hard to watch a Celtics team and say, well, yeah, they probably could have used somebody. They're really flat right now.
Yeah, since the break, the Celtics have gone 1-2. They lost to Toronto where they had a big lead, and Toronto did not have Kyle Lowry. They won a sloppy one in Detroit and absolutely got hammered by Atlanta. Matt, what's been going on with the offense? Because since the break, it has looked different, right?
Yeah, they're definitely not moving the ball as well, aside from that one amazing double jump pass that wound up with Jaylen Brown hitting a corner three. But yeah, Isaiah Thomas is saying that he's going to break that streak again. So, his confidence isn't going anywhere. But this is a game to lose it when you shoot 4 of 21 and have 7 turnovers. You got to give credit to Atlanta though, because they have one of the best interior defenses in the league, if not the best, between the incredible Paul Millsap and Dwight Howard, who really showed out in this game before getting ejected on what was a strange call. But yeah, I think that they're just simply not moving the ball as well, and I think Isaiah Thomas has kind of gone into hero mode a couple times. I know he's done it to some success over the course of the year. I thought he was just chucking up shots, particularly in the Toronto game, and a little bit here, forcing it perhaps a little too much. But, that's how much he wants to win, so I can't fault him for it. I think the Celtics will find their groove soon.
He was chucking it more than a little bit tonight. 4 for 21, forced it literally from the opening tip. I think he had something to prove against Dennis Schroeder tonight, who, again, accused him of talking about his mother. It seemed like they hashed things out on the court tonight. But credit to the Hawks, because they played him as physical as I've ever seen anyone play Isaiah Thomas. And
yeah, but he was missing layups. He was missing.
He was getting met at the rim. Yeah, he missed a couple easy ones, but he was getting met at the rim, unlike I've seen in the past. And Isaiah responded by not moving the ball and forcing it, and kind of taking his teammates out of the rhythm. Zaire, what say you?
Two glaring things has happened this month, and I know, definitely Isaiah's streak is just phenomenal. He's the best in the NBA, and that's that. But moving on to other people, Al Horford's month of February, I know this is Black History Month, but it's been the month of hell for him and Jay Crowder. Both of them combined, not combined, Al Horford shooting 39% going into tonight's game, 10.5 points per game. Jay Crowder shooting 38% going into tonight's game, 12.8 points per game. Those numbers are horrid compared to what they were doing before. And that's a big deal right there. And, many nights you can afford to have Al Horford not hitting shots when other guys are hitting shots, or you can afford for Jay Crowder. But when both of them are having off nights, or when them and then you combine Isaiah, who rarely does this, but it can't be 3, 4, 5 guys missing shots. And that's the bottom line. Like I've been saying all year, this team is about shot making. And, when you have 4 or 5 guys going 3 for 13 and, all of that is just not going to work.
Hey, Evan, at the end of the week, if we do our player power rankings, you're going to have Horford second for the off-ball stuff he was doing this week?
No, you guys are unbelievable. I'm never going to hear the end of that. I don't even care. I thought he played really well that week, but it's fine. Look, the number one on my list right now is Jaylen Brown. He's playing like a madman.
Well, it can't be Isaiah Thomas this week.
No, when you lose streak, you lose your spot.
No, honestly, I know there's been a lot of talk about this, but the Horford contract makes me nervous. I mean, since even before he signed, we've been worried about how he'd look at the tail end of the deal.
Even still, like, he's had a few games where he's shot under 40% this year, and still the Celtics typically win those games because he does do other things. He'll have a double-double. He'll have 5 or more assists. So his value, it is more than just shooting and scoring, and he's able to get points for other people by just being on the floor. That's something that other guys can't do on this team. So his value is there. And yeah, you know what? I'm going to say this about his contract. People are nervous about his contract, but the Celtics are in a great situation with other contracts that they can afford to have that one contract if it ends up being bad. But typically in the NBA, what do? You pay people for what they used to do, and you hope that they can still do some of it later on. But, I can stomach Al Horford's contract because it's not crippling the Celtics. They have so much money and so many young guys and so many young contracts coming up that if they screw it up, it won't be just because of Al Horford. It'll be because of a whole bunch of other bad decisions.
I like having Al Horford on the team. That's what it costs to have him on the team. You got to remember, even with the game Monday night, Al Horford was still second on the team in assists. He moves the ball extremely well for a guy that size, and he's very, very smart. So he's a more positive player than he tends to get credit for. When his shot starts to fall, that's when you see the full impact of Horford. He's just going through a really, really rough stretch right now when Boston can desperately use a spark from him.
I'm seeing here that he did not take a shot in the second half of that Hawks game.
Howard gave him a nice shot.
I like that foul, though. I love that foul by Al.
Just don't pound your chest and hype up the crowd saying that woke you up just to take 0 shots in the second half. That was
Well, he forced it a little too much in the first half. He didn't force it enough in the second half. I mean, the Celtics clearly are not in an offensive rhythm right now. Over the last 3 games, scoring has been a struggle because, Jay Crowder vouched for this team's chemistry. Now they got to show it on the court in the home stretch as we get to the playoffs here. I'm not particularly worried. Are you guys?
No, I think a little wrinkle is when you're as chippy as the Celtics can be and talk as much trash as Boston does, you kind of forget about some of the smaller rivalries. I think the Celtics have the Raptors, Cavs, and Wizards on their mind, not the Atlanta Hawks, and I really think they underestimated them tonight. I mean, the Hawks probably still had a bad taste in their mouth since the last time they saw us. Isaiah buried the game winner over Bazemore, and I think the Hawks remember that, whereas the Celtics have moved on, and the whole Horford leaving thing plus the Schroeder IT thing really boosted Atlanta's effort. So, every team has games like this, and I'm just glad it all happened to seemingly every player on the same night, especially Kelly Olynyk, Terry Rozier, Al Horford, and Isaiah Thomas.
I've been saying all year, this is a good Atlanta team. Are they the best? No, but they're not a slouch, and you have to respect what they have. I am definitely not the biggest Dwight Howard fan, never have been, but what he's able to bring them, they're using. It's not too many players grabbing 13 rebounds per game. And then you have other guys that can do what they can do. Paul Millsap, Tim Hardaway Jr. So you got guys that's contributing, and they're consistent in what they do. Yeah, they have some bad games because they're not on the upper echelon of the league, but they're a team you got to deal with. They're going to win 45 games more than likely or something, somewhere around there. So they're not a slouch, and I'm not – the Celtics rarely get blown out like this, and it's a bad loss. But at the same time, it's not like it's to the Kings again or something like that.
Yeah, I mean, the Celtics had to hit shots today. You have to hit 3-point shots against Atlanta because it's very hard to score in the paint, and they didn't do it. And that's probably the main reason why they lost this game. I mean, the third quarter, I'm shocked that they put up 24 points because it seemed like they had like 2 or 3 field goals in that third quarter. And that's really where the game started to get out of hand. They just lost any sort of offensive rhythm. But, shooting, it comes and goes. They're on to Cleveland. Great.
In order to beat Cleveland, you got to hit some shots. So hopefully they get all this out of their system, get a day off to regroup and come back the first day of March ready to hit some shots because they're not going to have any. Look, Cleveland's a little banged up. And there's an opportunity here to gain a spot in the standings with a big win for Boston and definitely give them a jolt as they head towards March here. But, man, they are going to have to bury some shots. And as Brad says, value the basketball. The turnovers have been unbelievable lately. They get really, really sloppy with the basketball. They don't value possessions.
Yeah, no, that's a great point. The Celtics have been playing so sloppy recently. They're only 12-16 versus teams above 500, and it's not going to get easier when you're playing the Cavs next game. So if they want to win, they just need to play kind of the complete opposite as they played against the Hawks. They need to take their time, move the ball around, and really get back to the offense that brought them success in the first half of the season.
Well, the good news is that the Celtics have generally a pretty easy schedule for the rest of the year. So, I'm not too worried about other teams catching them. I think Toronto's going to have a tough time doing that without Kyle Lowry. Maybe Washington can, but I don't think the Celtics are going to go into a prolonged slump. They tend to be a team that bounces back pretty quick.
I could do 20 minutes on how I'm coming around on Lonzo Ball. That'll be our second part.
Listen. I watched UCLA this weekend and
Arizona.
Man,
they
move the ball so well.
That kid can pass.
They are I think between them and Gonzaga, those are my top two picks to win it all this year. But the way UCLA moves the ball around, like they can beat anybody, man. Like they don't.
They move it like an NBA team. It's crazy.
Right.
And the thing is, they were known as like a selfish team last year. They had Bryce Alford running the point, and he wasn't really suited to do it. And now they're the second. They're ranked the second best offensive team in the league, but I think they're first. And that was like one of their worst offensive performances against Arizona.
And Arizona can play D. The kid Alonzo Trier is really good too.
Yeah.
But Alonzo is insane. His passing might be the best individual skill anybody has in basketball right now, in college.
Yeah, probably.
His vision is unbelievable. I still think Markelle Fultz is better, but I'm starting to warm up to the idea that if they don't get the first pick and they get the second pick, I'm cool with Lonzo Ball.
Well, then you got to deal with LeVar Ball for a decade.
It's fine.
My people, did you see Eric Mika on Saturday night?
I did. He's really good.
I mentioned him. I don't know if it made the show or not. I can't remember if it made the show or not, but I remember mentioning him, and everybody was like, "Who?"
Yeah, I know.
And then they go ahead and knock off the Zags. So Lonzo Ball, I'm looking at it. He's got a 67% true shooting and a 3-to-1 assist to turnover ratio. I don't even have to look. I'm pretty sure like no one in college has like done that.
He's crazy, dude. He's crazy. And actually, you know what's funny? His defense isn't that bad.
No, he's got good anticipation and stuff.
Yeah, he's becoming better and better, and I can't believe that. At the beginning of the year, I was like, "No, I'm cool on Lonzo," but now I'm like, "All right, this isn't bad. He's good."
That's who I want.
Lonzo?
For real.
He's the most fun dude.
No, he is without question the most fun guy to watch.
He fits well into what Boston does. Like bottom line, and I might say this during the show, Terry Rozier, I think he's out of the way next year, and I don't think there's no way Lonzo Ball will be this bad next year.
Oh, I think he's ready to come in and contribute, on any level. I feel the same way about Markelle Fultz. Like, these two guys, I could just see Markelle Fultz just, running pick and roll. He'd be, the second best passer on the team, maybe the best.
I'm just a fan of that length that Ball has, though, and he has other skills. And I think Fultz is a better scorer, but I think overall, as far as running an offense and being involved in an offense in multiple ways, Lonzo Ball is that guy.
I don't like his shooting form too much. It worries me a little.
But when he releases the ball, it's actually really high in the air. How he gets it there is just super weird.
Yeah, no, it's not the worst thing I've seen. It's nice that it's high, but it's not super fast.
The way he chambers the ball is weird, but it gets released from a high point. It's got to be one of the weirdest things. I can't even. I watch it. I'm like, this is just some weird.
Yeah.
As long as it go in, I don't care what it looks like. As long as it falls, I'm good.
Right.
They take on Washington on Wednesday. I'm looking here. UCLA Washington on Wednesday.
Yeah, they'll just play zone again, and Markelle will be
like
nothing.
a drum.
I feel so bad. If you watch Markelle Fultz, every time he gets near the 3-point line, there's 2 defenders on him. He never gets a clean look.
Yeah, because he's unbelievable, and he still hits shots. He's crazy.
All right, that'll do it for this episode. Thanks for tuning in. Be sure to follow us on Twitter at CLNS Roundtable, and we'll be back tomorrow.